have a question for him. Should Obama become president, how would you envision a cabinet with the Obama administration? And I'm focusing mainly on like 4 key cabinet positions: Secretary of State, Treasury, Attorney General, and Defense.
Interesting question. I don't know if you've thought about it. Do you have a wish list?
Yeah, well, thanks for the question, caller. I'm reminded, Obama, when he announced his presidential aspirations and announced his candidacy, he did it from Springfield, Illinois, the hometown of Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
And one of the things Abraham Lincoln was known to do was to not be afraid of opposing opinions in his cabinet. In fact, he put many of his political opponents in his cabinet just so that he would keep himself on his toes and understand the breadth of possibility that is before him. And this mirrors a similar attitude that John Kennedy had. And John Kennedy was facing the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Very true.
He wanted all the possibilities, the yays and nays, all the aspects of diplomacy and military action, all the options in front of him, so he could see the full panoply of possibility that he was supposed to weigh and judiciously pick what should be the correct course of action. I believe that Barack Obama embodies that spirit.
I do too.
I believe that he will put many Republicans in his cabinet, maybe not many, but I'm sure he's going to cherry pick and have a select few. And I don't think that he's afraid to consider the breadth of possibility. And
sure.
Of course, I'm not Barack, so I can't speak for him. But
do you have your own short list for vice president?
No. As much as I think Johnny Edwards covers a lot of the same ground that Barack covers, in terms of, he may not he may not be the poster child for triangulation, if you will. Johnny Edwards is a super trooper, and I've met him. I've heard him speak at several different events and occasions, and he's a real fighter. I also like Bill Richardson, for that matter. I think.
Well, that's my guy. I mean, and I did not support Bill Richardson for the presidency because I was with Obama as soon as actually, the first person I was with was Joe Biden, who I think would make an incredible Secretary of State.
Absolutely.
But then after that, I mean, I feel that Richardson fills so many roles. I mean, certainly in getting the Hispanic vote energized, which is absolutely essential. New Mexico, a major swing state. His foreign policy experience as UN ambassador. His experience as energy secretary. His experience now as a governor of a state. I think he'd be amazing.
I heard Bill Richardson speak at an event put on by the Indian Tribes of America called Prez on the Res. There were only 3 presidential candidates that showed up at the Morongo Mission Band of Indians out there in Morongo, California. There were 3 presidential candidates that showed up. Dennis Kucinich, of course, talking about his evolutionary political, spiritual vision, which is so valuable for our nation in regard to political authorship.
Right.
But Mike Gravel was there as well, and I was helping Mike Gravel with his campaign. My GOTV manager, Get Out the Vote manager for my 06 run, being his press secretary, Alex Colvin. But Bill Richardson really can take hold of the whole Southwest.
That's right.
And he is got the kind of outreach and affable demeanor that really would serve his ability to be the vice presidential candidate as a special envoy, as a kind of a diplomatic tool. He's got a wealth of international experience, having been the UN ambassador.
And economic experience as a governor.
And economic experience. He's interested in developing a green economy and a new economy with green-collar jobs, high-tech green-collar jobs. He's got a book out on the very subject.
And he wasn't in Congress when they voted to authorize the war.
Very good. Well, Bill Richardson's a good pick.
A lot of good choices,
Johnny Edwards is a good choice.
Yes.
Also, Governor Sebelius of Kansas has come up as well as
What about your senator?
Claire McCaskill?
Yeah.
She's a wonderful officer in the U.S. Senate, and certainly she's national co-chair for the Barack Obama campaign. Claire McCaskill ran a Super Trooper campaign out here in 2006, and she's able to garner an inordinate amount of support from traditional Republican strongholds.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that the pundits haven't talked more about Bill Richardson. He doesn't seem to be on anybody's list. I only heard him mentioned once, which was by Sam Donaldson, on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. And when he came up with it kind of out of the blue, saying, did anybody think of Bill Richardson, nobody had a negative about it, which was fascinating to me. But everyone's been talking about, Sam Nunn and Ed Rendell and Ted Strickland and, and on and on and on. And it's strange to me that Richardson hasn't gotten more attention as a potential vice presidential candidate.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I don't either.
I know that Bill Richardson would be an amazingly supportive vice president for Barack Obama. We wouldn't have a situation where he would be interested in upstaging Barack. Certainly, if Hillary was in that position, you'd have so many different personality.
Oh, that can't happen. I don't want that to happen. I mean, I guess there's always the possibility, because when you look at Kennedy Johnson. But to me, that really is fighting against Barack Obama's message of freshness, and even though Richardson has experience, he hasn't been that kind of Washington Paul. He hasn't been seen that way for a long time, and neither has Edwards, because he's also refreshing. So, Christopher, a great question, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, you take care.
All right, you too.
All right.